Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Beautiful, Sarah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. May we harness the lightning for higher. We are the Lord of our spirit. As the great Aleister Crowley has once put it. In the late 1800s. We are back.
It's good to be back.
We are back after a little pause in between our last ceremony.
Unfortunately, basically our entire family has passed away, and my cat has also passed away, and my house is burned down, and my dick got cut off. So that's the reason for the absence.
Exactly, good sir. Not to mention both of my legs being eaten by sharks, and these here are merely an illusion.
Remember that on that 70s show, Mitch Hedberg, he has a feature in one of them, and the Vietnam joke, and
oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, I know, I do too. He's like Mitch Hedberg is playing a server at like a hot dog restaurant, and these high schoolers are fucking playing pinball in the back, and he's like, order for John, 2 hot dogs, order for John. And he's like, give me a second. He's like, why can't you just bring it to me? And he runs up there, and he's like, why can't you just bring me the food? And then Mitch Hedberg goes, see what's the line? He's like, I didn't go to Vietnam. I didn't lose 2 legs, or I didn't lose a leg in Vietnam to serve like brats like you.
Yeah,
their fucking food. And he's like, you have both of your legs. He's like I said, I didn't lose a leg in Vietnam.
I just want to say it's so good to be here. It's good to be shooting the breeze, talking about mysticism, joking around, throw the whole kitchen sink in at you. But so I just want to say this real quick. Recently I've been looking at a few different YouTube channels and just kind of trying out it, because I'm really bad to only watch just a very few things on YouTube, which I guess is kind of good in a way too, because a lot of people can get carried away with just all kinds of just random stuff, and then before you know it, you're just like clicking on everything.
Yeah, right. It's all right to explore, obviously, because if you don't explore, then you're not going to discover new things. But when you are exploring, don't spend any time on bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found a guy who, what I've seen of his YouTube videos, I really do like him. He reminds me of he's just a modern day philosopher. I mean, I guess that's what a philosopher would be this day and time. And I don't know why I have a little more respect for him, just because he's like, YouTube is his thing. And like a lot of people, younger people, he's 22, so he's like pretty much, he's around our I don't know, I'm just really weird, like
my apologies.
Bad shape. You really are gonna have to have those amputations if you're going. But he said something that really kind of, sparked some more motivation for me, because I just want to say I've been having a little bit of hard time with motivation and discipline recently, because I haven't just been wanting to talk to anybody in the first place. I'll have moments during the day where I have like my version of meditation, but I feel like I just haven't been. I've been wanting to do more, and I've been thinking about a lot of different ways. I could do more, and us doing more when we get together. And no matter how busy things get, we still, or if things get pretty bad too. It's easy to say, oh man, it's not the best time to record yourself and just put a video out there. But I love what he said though. Whether you are writing something down, inspiration or a philosophy, nobody ever sees it. It don't matter. That's not the point. Or he said, if you record videos, you and somebody else who wants to talk about something deeply, because this is a huge problem with right now. People have kind of lost the ability to have conversations with each other, and we're kind of awkward people as it is anyway. But I feel like for us, it's a little bit different than a lot of other people. But nobody, oh my God, there's just so much distraction. I mean, it's so easy to get carried away, and then you're not really focusing on the scary, cold truth that we all face. But anyway, I loved just him saying, everybody needs to, in their own version or whatever they do, put out instead of constantly, because it's been on the decline for many years, and then
McKenna said this
2013 was really when it really, because he said 2013 is technically the start of the so-called digital age, and from then on to now, it's just getting worse and worse, and nobody's producing anything. Everybody's absorbing a bunch of weird. These videos are weird, man. Like,
oh God, they're beyond. And
let's talk about this.
Something that I've done is but I do agree with your statement about struggling with discipline and stuff like that.
Have you been having that problem?
Totally. But this is the thing about it. It's good that we're recognizing that, because we need to lock in and we need to have a practice and things to keep us grounded to what really matters.
Okay.
You're good. And I think that these states we feel this lack of discipline and over hedonism, because one part of our life is spent trying to make money, trying to make a living, like most everybody has to do. And that's really, most of the time, unless you're doing your dream job, it fucking sucks. And so you're doing that, and you're trying to do the best you can in life, and you come home, and sometimes it's hard to lock in and devote yourself to things that matter, and you give way into hedonism or just doing something mindless. But one thing I've done is I try to stay off of any short content, like short form content. It's horrible, and it's very strange, and it's AI, and it's bullshit. It makes me feel horrible.
Yes.
I try to stay away from that.
Yes, sir.
For sure. It's really, I was listening to Timothy Leary today, and I just fucking love that man so much. This an incredible person, and he had such enthusiasm for technology, and he talked about and when I started thinking about it, because I have a sort of negative view on technology right now, because but this is the thing, this is what I was thinking, is Timothy Leary was talking about technology developed by the people and developed towards with the intent of expanding consciousness and revealing more about reality, and making our lives better and cooler in all kinds of ways. But what's happened is it's fallen into the hands of the corporations, and they've used it, they've weaponized it into a way to addict us and enslave us and pipeline us incorrect information and warp our minds. So I think in this day and age, it's definitely good to stay away from most content, and you got to know yourself really well, before you just start getting bombarded by all the different personalities of the internet. You want to really be quiet, be with yourself, and then you can seek people that are like-minded and that help you feel so alone in the way you think, and help you You know, if they're thinking along the same lines as you, maybe they'll fill in a hole of information that you were missing or stuff like that. So you just gotta be very mindful.
Absolutely, brother. Could not have said that better. I'm going to add something in really quickly. And this is something, it's funny because me and him hasn't had a spiritual ceremony in a pretty good while because we are the type of people, at least I can only speak, I'm sure he's the same way, but I feel like when we don't get together at least once a week and have a ceremony, um, I feel like a lot of disorder starts to happen, and it just, I feel like it really is such a grounding. And if you skip a couple weeks or whatever, you really do notice that because I'm constantly thinking 90% of the things that I do in life, it just seems like it's so not real anyway. And it sometimes playing the game just gets really difficult to do. But,
Yeah,
kind of going back to the discipline thing is what I've really been noticing.
Can I add something real quick that I meant to add earlier
Yes,
about the discipline thing?
Yes,
I think that most people right now feel a real sense of hopelessness because they are intelligent enough to analyze the situation, to realize their brain is lighting up with alarm as they analyze the situation because our world our world situation is almost too nightmarish to contemplate. I mean, even things locally, I saw recently about some serious water contamination from really bad chemicals, and we're just destroying our planet on every level, and it's really disturbing, and it causes us to really feel helpless, because what can one do in such a huge mess, and I mean, people have all kinds of different reactions to that, and it's even harder for intelligent people. McKenna said this. He said, is there any reason? He said there's reason for stupid people to hope. He said, but is there any real reason for intelligent people to hope? And he, brought forth his reason for hope, which was the psychedelic experience and returning back to first principles and returning back, because like what he said, the data stream is tainted. We can't trust the data stream. The data stream is tainted by all these different intentions from cabals of very evil people. And so we have to walk away from all that and get back to first principles. Nature, look how amazing nature is, how beautiful. Look at how it works and how it's all interconnected, and you emerge from this, and you can reintegrate yourself back into this play that's been going on for millennia, for millions and billions of years. But yeah, the hopelessness thing, I think that makes us turn to undisciplined. It's like, why be disciplined when we're fucking, the world's burning down? But that's a terrible attitude, and because we have to work on our karma, and no matter how bad it gets, I think the highest consciousness thing to do is to in the face of hell say, I believe, I have faith that I am here, because this is where I need to be, as fucked up as it is, and people don't like to think like that, and we avoid suffering. And I want to introduce an idea soon. I didn't mean to fucking cut you off.
No, go deep.
But this disconnected real quick. And I'm sorry that I don't know the gentleman's name. This is not my idea, but I thought it really interesting, and I've thought along the same lines before. But it's not my idea. I heard it from somebody else. I don't remember their name. I'm sorry.
You did on YouTube?
It's Duncan Trussell was telling, or Chris Ryan was talking about it. Yeah, about somebody else. But the idea was this guy had a thesis, and his thesis was that life is 50% suffering and 50% pleasure, no matter what. And one of humans' biggest fallacies is thinking that they can increase their pleasure without consequently increasing their suffering.
Oh my God.
So think about,
I know exactly where you're getting
think
from.
about our civilization right now. That's the epitome of what's going on in Western civilization.
What if it would be
we
as
have
bad
so much?
if everybody wasn't so
100%.
focused?
Okay, look at
even in our personal ways too.
Look at the Kardashians, the drama, the fucking craziness of their life, and they're so sensual and so hedonistic and so rich and but then to compare that kind of lifestyle to like a monk.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who is not having all these hedonistic sensual pleasures, but is more happy.
Yep.
Than any of those people, because they don't suffer that much, because they're in this middle space.
Was this person like an Eastern mystic?
No. I was I thought about the monk thing, you know, and how that applied to like somebody like that, you know, just from deductive reasoning. But you know, I think it's very interesting. I really yeah, I just think that we can't, all of our life can't be hedonistic. It just doesn't. If you like, the more that pleasure you try to cram into your senses, the more suffering that's going to be happening, compensated somewhere else. It's just it really does seem that way, you know. And so I think the best way to live is live simply.
Yeah.
Live as oriented towards the highest truth that you can find in reality, and hold that, and just, you know, truck on, dude.
Yeah, man. That's a great, wow. I mean, that seems more than like just a philosophy. That just seems like one of those things you hear and you know it's the truth.
Right.
Like, that's actually huge. I mean, and it's really simple too if you think about it. It's just something that we haven't really thought about. I've never thought about it until.
And what's the reason that everybody's running around trying to just cram all their senses with maximum pleasure? Why?
Well, yeah.
Why? Well, because this is a thing, okay? Like, and this is what the Buddha said, and it's a beautiful, it's a insanely wise and somewhat dark thing. And you know, he talked about suffering, and he said, you know, not getting what you want, you know, that is suffering, and you know, and getting what you don't want, that's suffering too. You know, so I might have just said the same thing actually, but
getting what you want,
and then getting what you don't want, each of those are suffering. And the reason that getting what you want is suffering is because the thing that you're clinging to is in time, and if it's in time, it passes away. Yeah. So whatever that good thing is that you're trying to hold on to, so everything, like, this life is fundamentally suffering, and our biggest fallacy is believing that we can just fill our life with as many sensual things and avoid death and avoid the reality of, well, why am I here? What is all of this? You know, and confront some of the really, really deep existential questions. You know.
You know, I want to go completely off topic here for a second.
Go for it, dog.
And then I want to kind of go back to what I was talking about, but I haven't even told him about this. It's funny because as soon as I came over, we haven't really talked about anything. We just figured that we would start our ceremony off with just recording ourselves and just see, because it's sometimes interesting, maybe get some more information out that way. But the past few weeks, me and my wife have been staying up very late, and we've been watching some different movie marathons or whatever. But recently we've watched the Final Destination movie. I've told him about some of these things, but the one we watched last night cracked me up so much. It just talk about things that happen that are really weird, or in this case, really weird deaths. But I actually, at our local bookstore, read a whole book about some of the strangest deaths ever recorded in history. But long story short about this movie was this gentleman, basically the movie's about if somebody tries to cheat death, if it was their time to die and they end up getting out of it, it's still going to come back and get them, but sometimes in a more gruesome way than before. It was originally designed for them to die anyway. But this guy goes into this Chinese, massage parlor, and he cracks a joke about on each side of the wall is the Buddha statues, and it's like the classic happy Buddha. He's a really big version of Buddha, and he's just sitting there wrapped up in a blanket, and he's like, oh, look, and he cracks a joke at the Buddha statue saying, look, looks like Buddha's had too many rice cakes. And just starts getting cracked up. And he lays down, and the woman puts these, like little, I don't know what the heck it's for, but little needles, like, through, like a few in his forehead. They kind of look like pinhead there for a second. And then throughout his body, supposed to, like, relieve some type of tension or whatever. She said she forgot something and she left. And something happened outside to where that statue, the Buddha statue, came down and smashed in his head, all like just blood just gushed. I mean, it was such a gruesome scene. Like, oh my good Lord. But I couldn't help but just get so cracked up that that, like, scenario would happen.
Right.
And it just got me thinking, because I was, that YouTube channel guy I was watching, he talked about just how strange life is, and that a lot of the reasons we're going to these undisciplined ways or distractions because we really can't face just how strange things are.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest psychedelic revelations is, people freak the fuck out because it's the the high dose tryptamine experience is the definition of weird. It is the strangest thing you've ever laid your eyes upon. It's extraordinary. And that's one of the great lessons of the psychedelic experience is just how strange reality is, and we are immediately upon entering this world conditioned by our parents and by the media, and everything around us is sustaining this linguistic hallucinatory reality that everybody is walking around and living in, and so it's a big shock going from that to a psychedelic type experience, having the curtain pulled.
Wow, I've thought so much about psychedelics recently, and what kind of little friend is that down there? It's like a little moth.
I'm not sure. I'm trying not to hurt him though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe I've mentioned just in case he accidentally try to step on him or something. But last thing we want is for us to open our eyes and then some gruesome looking huge strong figure with that like moth head on it, torturing us in the worst ways possible because we
Dude, I want to show you some
stuff about that.
Oh yeah.
But look, I want to say this, and sometimes what's cool about having philosophy discussions on camera while recording is simply and merely because if you have a goal of some kind, you may possibly be more apt to stay on track with that goal. So for me, I not only want to start becoming more disciplined in a lot of different ways, but the thing with the journey on the great work, what I've noticed is, and again, it's took me a little while to get to this point I want to make. So the discipline is what I want to work on in a lot of different ways. Plus, I feel like I've figured out these truths in the great work, and it's like I've climbed a certain amount of stairs, and I've been standing on this particular stair for a little longer than what I would have liked. I'm not saying I haven't had revelations, because I've been having revelations almost every day, if not multiple times a day, but as far as working on the main puzzle, that we look at, I don't know. And I realize that patience is a huge part to this, because that wants to just figure this stuff out like within 24 hours to 5 to 7 business days or whatever.
You know what I heard Ramdas say the other day?
And I realized that's huge, and I'm not trying to say like I want everyone to know all answers of the universe.
But it's amazing to be in the place we are. It's really cool. It's really cool to be like in the stage of
But
the beginning and starting to.
But I get the feeling that if we discipline more and work harder, then we will find out more truth.
100%.
Like that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like if I could, become more wise or whatever, figure out more truth, unlock, doors, whatever, in any way, like I don't know. I just that the whole discipline thing has really been on my mind lately.
You know what I heard a spiritual man say the other day? A Buddhist teacher, meditation teacher. Duncan Trussell asked him, what happens to somebody that gets really close to achieving enlightenment and passes away? Or no, he said that, but then he talked about he said what happens
He asked Duncan Trussell this?
No, he asked the teacher this. What did he ask? He asked he said
So wait, Duncan Trussell was asking somebody else, the teacher.
I'm trying to think of the question he asked, but he said something really interesting. Oh, if it was if you love, I forget, but basically his answer was well, then you get to do that. You go to the God realm. You go to the God realm. He said, then you get to do that for 20 million years and get a good taste of it. If you still have an attachment to beauty or whatever it was that you asked, he said, well, you get to experience it there, and see it for a long ass time.
Man, I tell you, that's beautiful.
But then there's the other way too. Oh, you know what?
You mean the hell realms?
Yeah, it talked about there. There might be a dimension just getting your thumb smashed by a hammer, just that feeling over and over and over again for 20 million lifetimes. That could be one of the hell realms. It's just it's an interesting thing.
God. See, this is the stuff that keeps me up at night.
Right.
I think of this stuff all the time. And I know
and we can't live in fear, but I can't help but entertain the idea that there is a type of spiritual justice for very bad actions and things like that. And I do believe in karma and I'm talking about karma in the sense of inter-lifetime karma, karma that's you're working out lifetime after lifetime,
I've been thinking about karma a lot too, and I just keep thinking about mistakes that I make every day, knowing that I'm making them, but just letting them go on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it's good to be aware of, these things that we do, but man, overall, this dimension we are in, I mean, we've had some amazing times, and it's been so fun, and we've experienced love and pleasure, and comfortable times, just weird synchronicities, but also really stressful times and just uncomfortable times, and
yeah.
It's weird though, because when you start getting extremely uncomfortable, man, people that's sick, for example, I mean, they're ready to go ahead and go.
Right.
I don't know. It makes you wonder, where you're wishing yourself to. But lately, oh, dude, I have had such strange dreams recently. Good God. I've told you in the past about having weird dreams, man, but it's been nothing the way it's been. I've been having weird, uncomfortable dreams though. But I had one that was revelational, and I actually texted it to you, but I can't even remember what that was about now.
I don't remember, dude.
But it's weird, man. I feel like if I text something or like that to you or tell you something, I kind of almost forget about it, and then I make room for new stuff that's coming on.
Right, I know.
Let me explain something here. A synchronicity that happened. It's so weird. I said something so random, and then I ended up getting a comment that I had made a comment on a YouTube channel. And it was about this random couple of words that were put together. That was the name of the guy's the YouTube channel name. It was so weird. I mean, I got chill bumps. You know, like the hairs on the back of my neck was standing up, and they were staying out, like Ringo. Like, oh my good lord. But I think that we get these little feelings, and people would like call that whatever your conscience. If we're doing something we're not
Intuitive heart.
really supposed to be doing, or a feeling that we should, go after something, a goal or whatever. I think that this kind of standstill people have when dedicating their life to the great work is honestly a good thing, because, like I said, lately I've been thinking more than ever of ways that I can better the spirit, and and that's why so much lately I've been getting pushed back into the beautiful stories of people who's gotten into Buddhism.
Yeah.
And man, their way of teaching, it's so weird too how I came about some of this stuff last
I got
week.
some Buddhist stuff to teach you, arrogant. I got some Buddhist stuff to read to you.
Okay, that sounds great. I love the way you said
to
that.
teach you.
That sounds like something that I would say, like if I had about 3 shells of coffee.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I would actually put that to somebody. Take it, sir. I'm about to teach you some of the great work. Oh, it's beautiful, though.
I think meditation is an amazing tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that
I kind of had some meditation, man.
It's something that I'm not saying that I don't meditate daily. I meditate kind of spontaneously right now. But I want to say this. I do want to incorporate like a 10-minute meditation, set a timer in complete silence in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe chant Hare Krishna a few rounds and just meditate for 10 minutes before I do anything. I want to start doing that. I think that'd be beneficial. And there's all of these different
I got 2 big things to talk about.
Okay.
I would have to use.
There's all these different methods of meditation, and there's all these different. She has the zoomies, and there's all these different reasons for doing it. Like meditation.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of my people are like, oh, you have to sit crisscross. Like that's one way to do it. And I actually do enjoy doing it like that, but crisscross, like it's called the warrior
a
pose.
50s guy going about it.
Yeah. Like that Indian style, with your shoulders back. That's called the warrior pose, and it's a confident pose.
Yeah.
And it's like you're ready to fight,
take over
for truth. Fight for in this fucking reality to attain alignment. But one way you can meditate, and this is kind of how Hinduism teaches it, and a big aspect of meditation is being quiet and your posture straight and a nice rhythm to your breath. And there's a couple different things you can do. Like I said, one way that Ram Dass talks about that's really cool is you have an object that you focus on and nothing else. For example, your breath. So you'll sit there and go, in breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. You just do that for a long time. Or you can do this, and I've done this before. When you inhale, feel how that feels in your nose. When you inhale in your nose, there's a sensation right there on the tip. Focus on that. And even when there's no air passing through, still focus on that. Feel how it feels without air. Feel how it feels with air. But whatever you do, focus on that. And this is just kind of teaching you one-mindedness and getting you and getting you to be able to focus. But then there's transcendental meditation too, which is getting to learn how your mind works. And you sit there and You form no attachment whatsoever to your thoughts. You recognize that the thoughts you're having as you sit here and meditate, you don't try to be quiet. Don't do that. You just literally sit there and watch what happens. It's really cool. And you just watch these thoughts happen, pop in your head. And you don't associate with them. You just watch them like clouds passing by in the sky. And it's like, huh. And then you start tapping into the Atman, who's like the watcher, watching these thoughts go by. And you're like, huh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? You know, and you're tapping into this deeper part of your consciousness. And if you do that for a long period of time, you will literally merge into this spacious consciousness. It's incredible, you know. And that's the way you can do it, you know. And I love to walk. One of my favorite things is to walk in nature and just observe nature and worship the goddess as I'm smelling her perfume coming off the plants and I feel the sun and connect with nature and think about spiritual things and I chant in my mind. That's a beautiful thing that I love to do. So there's many different ways to do it, but getting to understand your thought patterns and stuff like that, it can kind of help you see where you're going wrong in your mind too if you tap into that Atman state and you're watching what's going on, you know.
Wow, man, that's beautiful, brother. You know, meditation's another thing that, and you do have the people who do it and they preach it so hard, and then a lot of people, you know, like it with anything, may not go about it just because of the way somebody presents it to them. I've noticed that so much. I mean, we have to. I mean,
the thing is, dude, like
it's something people need to discover themselves.
You don't have to preach it.
Yeah,
people will find it.
Yeah,
they do, and it's not good.
Yeah,
it just, you know, it's like if you believe in karma and stuff like that, like, you know, they are where they're at. All you can do is whoever you cross paths with, you represent Krishna or whatever your conception of divine consciousness is. You are going to represent that, you know, that type of consciousness, that tolerance and openness and, you know, trying to not conflict suffering on anything and loving and compassionate, all that stuff. That's divine consciousness. And whoever you cross, that right there is all you need to do. You don't need to preach people and stuff like that.
After our video, dude, I got some things to show you like immediately. Like I cannot. I've got some. I want to be teaching things to you too. But what was I going to say? Okay, so I have a couple kind of random things to talk about, but I've been doing some research on this, and I'd like to see what your opinion is on these things. But it's weird because I was kind of just being moved. One day I left to go to work early so I can just sit in the parking lot for a little bit and have like a ceremony. And I was getting moved by reading people's stories of like places, horrible places that they used to be. And some people started the great work out of like being at rock bottom in their life, and they realized that they've been hit hard with these material things they were after did shit for them. And a lot of people turned to Buddhism and just, anyway, long story short, read some beautiful things, but somehow I got sidetracked, classic, and this guy was, and well, this guy and woman, I think there was a couple, but they were people that I actually listened to, and after about 5 minutes through, I was like, I really trust these people's opinions. Like I got that, you know how some people you're like, oh my god, this guy's completely full of it.
Yeah, right.
Like the guy talking right now. Like if somebody watched this, like that guy, I don't know what he's talking about. He's not becoming awakened in any way. Hope somebody
He's just a regular guy.
That'd be horrible. I don't want to be a regular guy.
I know.
I don't want to die an ordinary man. Oh, what a horrible song. Hate to talk about him, but anyway, just rambling right now. So these guys, these people were very knowledgeable about Hinduism, Buddhism, spirituality, and a lot of different forms. They definitely have done their homework, but it's crazy. Oh no, I can't wait to show you this video, by the way. He talked about Anton LaVey. They cleared up the rumors about Christians like to say he had this big deathbed thing or whatever. That was obviously not true.
Yeah.
They was explaining the strange and mysterious life that really nobody can really figure out for sure of Aleister Crowley. And me and him has really studied the biography of Crowley pretty deeply. We've read into a lot of different of his books, and we really have jumped around probably all of them and read something in all of his books. But this is the thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to ask you what you think about this. So, Meister Crowley has obviously discovered, putting it very mildly, a great many of truths in the great work.
Yeah.
He obviously has done so much for people, getting into the occult and magic and all the things. And it's weird because part of him, it seems like, I may be completely wrong on this, and I will humbly stood corrected if you see anything false that I'm about to say, because what I'm about to say is kind of out there, and I've never talked to you about this either, because it's recently just kind of something that's come forth and presented itself. It seems to me, long story short, Aleister Crowley, part of him really, really broke a few things down to explain to the so-called like common man.
As you said, the banker,
yes,
the this, the this, the this.
About the occult and magic and this and that, philosophy, mysticism, but it does seem like he has obviously made things extremely complex in other areas, coded.
And obscure.
Now this leads me to the next question, and I don't mean to blaspheme or anything like that, the great Aleister Crowley, because obviously I have always respected what this hero has like, oh my goodness, the time he lived in, and what he must have faced standing up for these truths that he was coming across in a place of stuck-up Englishmen in the 1800s. Good God, I couldn't imagine, but he didn't care. He focused on the truth. And but what's really got me thinking recently is a lot of misconception, possibly. Okay, so he wrote a book, 1922, when he was a little older, of a kind of biography, but he was using a different name. But later in the called the Confessions of Aleister Crowley, he explained that Peter character in the Diary of a Drug Fiend was him. And if you're not familiar with the book, this guy is a like heroin, cocaine, and morphine addict.
The opiate and a cocaine addict.
So he earlier on, like in the 1800s, he has this quote that he definitely believes, and he's done psychedelics with mescaline, and he has definitely, experimented with a lot of different substances to, as he put it often, to get to a state, to be closer to the high gods, to get to a place to where you can just be moved to a place. And we understand this just from you just do a Kratom Kava combo, for example, and me and him's just opened up a holy book and been blown away in such a profound way that we wouldn't have felt that just the same. We feel it's complicated, but it's just a unique way of experiencing the great work in a certain state. And that's what he was talking about. But okay, what I'm trying to get at is I'm probably explaining this horribly, but my opinion on this is he was okay. but somebody who takes a harmful, that could be harmful if you do it all the time, would be a more weak-spirited person, and somebody like that couldn't control something harmful. Like, it's different. For example, like Ram Dass was talked about as a junkie of psychedelics because he was in the psychedelic world tripping so much, like, to where somebody who didn't know anything about it was like, man, that guy's addicted to LSD or magic mushrooms. But something like heroin would be completely different. That could end up being harmful, because you're constantly harmful, as in your mind is thinking about it all the time. Therefore, you really wouldn't have a lot of energy left. Like, you're constantly thinking about, like, the next fix, for example, to be able to really focus on the great work. And he talked about those kind of people as being as weak people. So it makes me wonder if that itself was possibly a code, if you will, like, to see if somebody would read that and maybe fall into that trap or whatever. But that trap can be kind of it's kind of hard to overcome depending on, like, how addictive the substance is or whatever. But that's kind of something that I've been thinking about a pretty good lot last few days when I've read that. Do you see where I'm coming from, brother?
Wait, are you saying that he would kind of semi-lure people into getting addicted to have... Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So
okay.
to have the
Yes.
spiritual experience of overcoming addiction?
Yes. To see, because he described it in Diary of a Drug Fiend as...
Fight for his soul.
Yeah, like, you pretty much are overcoming, like, you have a demon on your back, somebody who's a heroin addict, for example, or cocaine, whatever, and you overcoming this, and because, like, the withdrawals he explained in the book was such hell, and just misery, and kind of being in this realm for a while, but going through, just say you cold turkey it, for example, and you just go through this horrible phase, and you just, you put it really good. We talked about some similar a few weeks ago, people who are in the, like opium realm are in such bliss, but if they have a dependency on it, like the withdrawals will take them to such, a hell realm, and it's both beautiful and hellish,
but in a very extreme way. Like, it's a manic state at all times. But do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I know it's kind of complicated what I'm trying to say, and it's probably just because I'm not explaining it very good. I think one or two things probably happened. One, he was luring people, like you said, to experience this and to see if they can overcome it, and that's they're overcoming their demons. Or he never really was like a opioid addict. He just experimented with it for whenever he was doing special ceremonies or whatever magic rituals. He just used it sparingly, and
that would be the only way
to do that.
Could do
for
it
sure.
is just
and
preserving
he had this mindset going into it, because I could only imagine, like, I think there is certain things that, you could do.
Reserve only for magical rituals. Yeah, 100%.
But there's things that you can do every day too, but not many things you can do every day.
100%.
Like, if I wanted to smoke a cigar every day, like, okay, that's obviously not going to hurt. I mean, well, it can.
Depends on, if you're buying cheap cigars, that's not good.
But I'm just saying, like, if I smoke my tobacco pipe every day, I should be okay. I mean, nothing too... Obviously, anything can happen, but... You're
not great for your oral health, but it's like it's not the worst thing to do.
And doing kava every day, obviously.
No, that's totally fine.
And honestly, even if you're chewing kratom leaves every day, doing kratom powder every day, like, I mean, if you don't, I mean, you will have.
That's a little bit different because there's an addictive aspect.
There is an addictive aspect to it, but I'm just.
So physically, you'll be totally fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out a few examples,
No organs like that.
But you definitely don't want to be doing cocaine every day and heroin every day or amphetamines every day.
Yeah.
But I kind of just got to thinking really deeply about this, brother, and want to talk to you about it. Maybe, like I said, he never was an addict, and it's like he said, is if he was an addict, then you know, why would he say that only like weaker minded people would be
Right.
ones to get into that situation
Yeah.
anyway? And
See,
he
I
wouldn't have been able to focus on the things that he did.
yeah,
It just don't make
I've
sense.
always said this. I don't think Crowley was a chronic heroin addict. I
You
really don't
have
think he is.
mentioned this before, but I really didn't like
Mm.
think like I never really thought about it like
But yeah, let me turn into this.
until recently.
Um, yeah, I do agree with you that Crowley's work is heavily coded and stuff like that. And with the Diary of a Drug Fiend thing, he did mention that was like a uh, talking about himself and his personal experience. And we got to understand the time period that this took place in. You know, and he
was
talked about this in the book. This is in France, right, or Paris,
yes.
in the 19 teens, 20s, or something like that. And heroin was legal, and it talks about this in the book. It says that it became illegal during that time that
Yes.
they were there because it became an epidemic in Paris. People were abusing heroin. So that's the thing, but that's the environment that we're looking at. So you got to understand that.
They
So as
prescribed heroin to him because of his asthma. That's what.
yeah, and so you said like how somebody like him so brilliant, like how could he fall for like the trap of that?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say he didn't know better. It wasn't illegal.
So if he did,
somebody was
become an
probably just like,
addict.
hey, let's have a blast, and he probably just accidentally fell into addiction probably, and then inadvertently had this really extreme spiritual experience, this hell and this battle of the soul that he inadvertently kind of walked into, and wrote about it, and see, the thing about heroin is it's actually physically safer than things like alcohol, but it's devilish. It's devilish in the sense uh, of how badly it grips you and gets its hooks into you, and the thing that's unique about opiates against all other addictive substances is opiates have a physical, horrible physical withdrawal. It's not like speed, you get mental withdrawals. It's not like nicotine, you get mental withdrawals. In alcohol, you can have physical withdrawals, but it's different. But you get this deep physical discomfort and deeply in your bones when you're withdrawing from that stuff. And it's a real devilish one. It's like the devil of the plant world. It's like it's like this thing that's like so tempting because it makes you feel so good. But I don't think it's good. I really don't. But I think that if you are a mystical person, I think that any state of consciousness that you enter is a new opportunity to explore and get different perspectives. But that does not mean that that's a good, reliable thing. So and I don't think Crowley, perhaps he used it in rituals, stuff like that. And you said maybe he was intimating that, the addiction experience is fruitful if you overcome it. And I think that he probably was suggesting that. And there's a lot of evidence that he was a big psychedelic guy, and he was definitely experimenting with mescaline and
cannabis was mentioned a lot in his poetry.
for sure. I think those things were
a lot.
when I read his work, he had such a psychedelic mind, and he was so intelligent, and he was a true mystic. Anybody that criticizes Crowley needs to that's interested in mysticism and well read in mysticism.
Absolutely.
They should read his stuff because he's really spot on a lot of stuff,
sir.
and yeah, that's kind of what I think probably happened.
Yeah, man.
You know what I saw somebody say today, dude? It was this guy talking about and this is what people got to understand this day and time, man, because and I like getting high and stuff like that, and I like having fun, and at this point in my life I'm totally past the point of desiring to take powdered drugs and stuff like that. Like that's not plant, like full plant form stuff. I just don't have any desire to because the drug environment is so different now. It's very dangerous now. I saw somebody talking about this earlier.
It's depressing, isn't it, man?
Yeah, it's super
It'd be
depressing.
nice
Just listen
if
to
it
this.
was like
There's a guy that was on this comedy podcast, and he was saying, dude, he said I was an addict in the like '90s and early
like the
2000s.
guy that I sent you about the other day.
I don't remember, dude.
Yeah, late '90s, early 2000s. It was actually brothers. They experimented some.
But what he said was he would literally, he said if somebody came, like you'd go to a bar, somebody have some powder, he'd say, okay, let's try it. He said that this might not be coke, let's see what it is, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
And there was no fentanyl and stuff, so there was no risk
know.
of like
Dude,
just
wasn't that
randomly
awesome?
dying. Well, dude,
I
he
mean,
said
it
he said that
sounds so fun.
he
like,
said that he would find bags of white powder in bars in the bathroom and be like, what is this? Oh, I don't know what that is. Put it back down and be fine. Like today, if you did that, that's a death sentence. He was even saying, he said, I would never do that now. He said, but back
Brother, it's
then,
been
he said, but back
ruined.
then I could, But even, what I'm saying is, today it's unless you really like are suicidal, there's it's a totally absurd thing to I want to be like a rapper, pop perks, or I want to snort coke. It's just not worth it, and it's not cool, and
Well,
it's not the way it used to be, and
when
it's
I
not good for you.
when I was talking about, I sent you something about a guy. He's like almost 60 now, but like many years ago, like he popped perks. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And he was talking about that. He's like, and then you sent me that message like it's not perks anymore. Like what
Right.
that just a lot of different things, cocaine, like all this stuff that people could have experiments with things. And a lot of people, he for example, he never got addicted to any of this stuff. He just had some. If you go to a party or whatever, they had some like you just said he would do it. But that's so great to be able to have that freedom back then. But like it's so depressing that if you wanted to do that now, you really couldn't without possibly more than likely killing yourself.
And I'm telling you, and this is why I tell everybody, like,
you can't even really trust weed sometimes these days.
Right. Yeah, you want to be careful for sure. But and this is why I tell people about cannabis. I say never buy off anyone that sells anything other than cannabis or maybe mushrooms. Like because if they're scaling out cocaine on the same scales that they're scaling out your cannabis, it might be laced with fentanyl. Be very careful with stuff like that. But lost your train of thought, dude.
Let's see. What were you talking about? Let's see. Being careful about.
I personally, I'm very interested in pharmacology and specifically plant pharmacology. And
I've recently become more interested.
And there is this whole big family of plants that are not harmful to your body, psychoactive plants that are not harmful to your body, and a lot of these are not addictive, and I've experimented with a lot of these plants, and a lot of them have mystical value, and just be, a way to manage, stress healthily, without damaging your body. And if we really want to, advance in the great work, we can't be damaging our brain consistently. Like if you're drinking alcohol consistently, you're doing brain damage consistently. That's neurotoxic. And so I don't want to do so. I don't want to do that. I have no desire to. And I understand like the aspect of, life is hard and I need something to take the edge off. That aspect of it, plants are there for you in that way too. They really are. And you don't have to harm your body, and cannabis is amazing, and that's probably the most accessible thing to everybody. But there's all kinds of plants that are amazing for ritual use and for recreational use.
And sometimes alcohol, even though I'm not a fan of it at all, occasionally you might have a hard day and you do think about, wow, maybe a little bit of alcohol right now, even though I'm not a fan of it, it temporarily take me out of this kind of bad mindset that I'm in right now, or hey, maybe to help me sleep tonight or whatever, like, and that's really how these problems start off anyway. Not always, but sometimes.
My thing has always been like, always look for the purest form of what you're seeking. Like, why do alcohol when kava helps you sleep?
Exactly.
When cannabis helps you sleep? When kratom helps you sleep?
Yeah.
Like you don't, like for example, I'm saying like substitute bad habits for better habits. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're a snacker and you constantly go for Cheetos, maybe eat peanuts. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole food that's
Right.
a lot better for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you don't have
Yeah.
to drink poison. You can smoke this herb, or you can
Mm-hmm.
drink this plant.
Exactly.
And we should just be wise with what we're putting in our bodies, because it's a lot of this stuff that's on the market in the U.S. is not good. Food and intoxicants as well.
Think about, man.
It's the worst stuff ever.
And we see a lot of people, man, like where we work out and stuff like that. Man, it's hard not to sound like we might think that we're like better in some way or another. It's just I feel like we've just really seen through a lot of the lies that's out there that the system wants people to accept as the truth, and like you're just gonna look a little bit crazy if you talk about this to certain people, and you can say the what little bit you can, but like as far as deep thinking,
There's no
philosophy
reaching.
conversations, like we just have to, sad as it is, like keep most of it with
Dude,
just to ourselves.
you know something I realized recently, dude? Write.
Oh, dude,
if you
that's why I
can't
just-
find somebody to talk to, write it down.
Dude,
Dude,
I got
the
some-
paper is your fucking partner, and when
No.
you're alone and you can't talk to nobody.
I have writers.
Me too.
Well, we haven't got that. I've written a lot of great things down, I feel like, and I've done some drawing that paid me off.
It's a drawing.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, we got to stay grounded in the things that our free minds feel gravitated to. And we just all got to constantly, if all of us devote to working on ourselves and trying to cultivate our higher selves out of this impure me body that we're in right now. You know what, it talks about this in Hinduism. They say a human incarnation is the most desired incarnation.
That's hard.
You know why? They say because it's the most you have the best chance of awakening. Because it's such a poignant and incarnation.
And sometimes the uncomfortable states can help us awaken.
100% suffering. 100%.
Like
because suffering destroys the illusion of that you constructed. Like suffering 100% leads to awakening and leads to the dissolution of these.
I want to get more.
Me too.
Back into the actual books, man. Like
we'll do some reading today.
That sounds great. But anyway, I think that this talk has been amazing. I feel like it's kind of really what I've really needed to do, and sometimes more can be said when you're recording yourself for some reason. Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have like a live audience watching us, but for some reason it kind of feels like But yes, I can't say enough how great this has been.
Same, dude.
And I didn't mean to cut you off if you have anything else you'd
No,
like
that
to add.
I was done speaking with that.
I feel like I don't have anything else I really want to add at the moment, but I would like to get into some studying, some videos, and some other things. But you'd like to close, good sir?
Certainly, dude.
The ceremony?
Certainly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I honor the old gods. I honor the goddess and the god. I honor the supreme being. And when I think of honoring the goddess and the god, I'm honoring the spiritual forces which keep this universe together. I think there's all kinds of spiritual forces keeping our universe together. I really do. And in the Hindu scripture it talks about this, that they're called demigods, and there's all kinds of goddesses and gods that are supporting the supreme being, and all their power is derived from the supreme being. They're like these little differentiated deities that are empowered by the supreme being, and I honor that, and I honor the source, But
Beautifully said, good sir.
We'll
Very
close it
good.
up.
That's so true. And Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
until next time.
Till next time. Cheers.